Thank you, Gaurav. Good afternoon. Unnathi POP strategy is a livelihood strategy of Society for Elimination of Rural Poverty, Government of Andhra Pradesh. SRP has organized 1.16 crore rural women in 22 rural districts of Andhra Pradesh into self-help groups, which are federated into village organizations at the village level, and further organized into mandal samakhyas at the mandal level, which are further organized into zilla samakhyas, which are district organizations. So, what is Unnathi? Unnathi provides livelihood support to poorest of the poor families in rural areas. It starts with baseline data collection, like asset ownership, land, any kind of productive asset, education, health, loans, taken, etc. So this information is collected and digitized. It is put into the web. It is an ASP.NET framework based application. In the web, a wealth ranking is done for the households and marks are assigned to the households based on their vulnerability criteria and asset ownership. So if you have land, if you have assets, productive assets, you get more marks. And if you have a vulnerability, for example, you have a child labor, you have a bonded labor in your family, or you have a chronic illness in your family, it is a widow, there is a widow, it is a single woman household, then you get assigned negative marks. And the households that get the least marks come on top of a short list of households which are given the livelihood support by the village organization. So the bottommost families with least marks come on top of the priority list, and the assets are provided to these families through the village organization, and repayment and recycling is monitored by a community activist, a member of a POP family who is trained and placed in the village itself as a liaison with the families. Now the uniqueness of the project. We have collected in 3 phases. The third phase has been completed. In 3 phases, we have covered more than 40 lakh SC/ST households of Andhra Pradesh. That is total coverage, 100%. In the first 2 phases, we collected information of 10.2 lakh households. It was collected through an 85 field questionnaire, out of which 42 fields were pre-populated from various databases in the software itself. The use of ICT in project implementation, all the data that is collected, the 40 lakh households data is collected, is available on the web for anyone's access. The assets that are given to the family are given as a loan. There are no freebies and there is no cash handling by the family or our functionaries. So this is to ensure that the loan is used for productive purposes. Gap analysis of household. In the third phase we have collected data of 30 lakh households, covering total for 100% coverage. We have also collected data of habitation entitlements. 52,000 habitations data was collected relating to access to basic services and entitlements, like whether there is electricity in your habitation, whether there is road in your habitation, whether there is a school, whether there is health services, 104 facility, 108. 104 and 108 are ambulances in Andhra Pradesh. So this gap analysis gives us what households or what habitations lack some basic services and entitlements. Single window database for tracking the progress of POP household. We have a system, actually we are developing a system where we have, you can see all the interventions relating to a particular household in one screen itself, and you can track that over a period of time to see how successful we've been. The impact. In the first 2 phases, like I said, we collected data of 10.2 lakh households. Out of that, based on shortlisting, we have provided assets to more than 1 lakh vulnerable POP families with the support of Government of Andhra Pradesh of 136 crore rupees. This has led to significant improvements in incomes and women empowerment. We have also been able to facilitate 45,000 ration cards, the details as you see on the screen. The SHG coverage has increased from 79 to 94% since 2010 when the strategy started. The SHG is linked to banks. SRP is also providing loans to SHGs through banks. That is called bank linkage. It has increased from 77 to 93%. It has led to empowerment of community-based organizations, the SHG, the FBO, the Mandal Samakhya, working for the poorest of the poor. And we have been able to train 11,539 community activists from POP families which have become our asset in the village basically, working for their own communities. The roadmap going forward, based on the data that we have collected for households and habitations, we will converge with various departments for ensuring that certain entitlements which are the right of those families are given to them and in those habitations. And in the data recently collected, out of 30 lakh families, 1.5 lakh families will be provided livelihood assets in this financial year before March 2013-14 under SC/SC TSP Act, which is Scheduled Caste Subplan and Tribal Subplan Act 2013, with the support of funding of 500 crores. We have also collected data of 2.1 lakh ultra poor families identified for all-round development. These families are decided by the village organization in a meeting, 5 families per village organization. So we have nearly 40,000 village organizations, so it comes to more than 2 lakh. So these are families which are households which are mostly highly deprived, mostly a single person in old age or suffering from some illness or orphans. Basically on the margins, in the village itself they are living on the margins. So these families are identified to be provided all round support for all round development like food, shelter, clothing, education, medicines, and we will be leveraging technologies like GIS for spatial analysis for better targeting in the future. Thank you.
Gaurav, in your presentation, if you just go back, you talked about significant change in improvements in income, right?
Yeah.
Could you give us some numbers here?
See, these households, the poorest of the poor households that we are talking about, these were identified because we learned that after 10 or 12 years, I'm coming to that. After 10 or 12 years of SHGs, some households were still, excluded. So earlier these households may have been using the NREGs, the job cards, through which they were able to get some income. So that was around 100 rupees per day. So if they work for say 25 days in a week, take a holiday on Sunday, they were able to get 2,500 rupees. With the advent of Unnathi POP strategy, and if they get any, for example, they get a cow. If they get a cow, they are able to. You can say that they are able to increase their income from 2,500 to I think 4,000, because if you imagine that they get 3 liters of milk from that cow or buffalo per day.
I'm questioning your strategy. I want to know what percentage of households saw significant improvement in incomes, because we have a fairly large database, very comprehensive, very well done. So I'm sure you must have done
all of them, because we have only taken poorest of the poor. Our strategy ensures that only the poorest of the poor get the assets, and that means that there will be increments in income for all of them.
What is the role of community activists specifically, and what was the training you gave to them? I mean, in their role.
Basically, community activist role is at the village level. That is our liaison in the village, at the village level. So every information that we give, that we want to communicate, it's communicated through the community activist. And basically, and at the outset, the baseline data collection is done by the community activist. And after the households are shortlisted, the household livelihood plan is prepared for that household. That is, the CA goes to those households which are shortlisted and prepares this household livelihood plan. Basically, they ask them, what asset would you like? What asset would you prefer, which you can use best? For example, it can be a livestock, cow or buffalo. It can be sheep or goat, which is we call small ruminant. It can be land lease. It can be a small business. It can be a skill business. So we have more than 70 to 80 skill businesses.
They are a part of the POP families itself.
They are women of POP family.
So what criteria did you use to select them as CAs and not others as CAs when you were selecting them, because they are performing a very critical role? I mean,
basically it is willingness and those who take initiative. We go to the village and we conduct a meeting. The village organization conducts a meeting, and they decide that who will be able to. Basically, it's the person who comes forward.
And on an average, like one CA will control how many?
100 households. So if in a village there are more than 100 households, we have 2 CAs.